What's going on, guys and gals? My name is Neko Fluttershy, and this is probably gonna be one of the more weird videos that I've made, and that's saying something, because I've made some fucking weird-ass videos in, like, a while. But I'm about to get all philosophical on your fucking asses. Let me tell you a little something. What if this world that we're in right now doesn't exist? Now, what if I told you this timeline, that everything that has ever happened in this world is not the proper timeline? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, technically, the universe, in my opinion, is always expanding. So there's going to be different timelines and different dimensions where things happen. Think about it. You know, the Mandela effect. You know, Berenstein, you know, that sort of thing. Luke, I am your father. No, I am your father. You see how those things can cross over? And a lot of people cross over from different timelines and different universes. Well, what if this timeline that we're in right now and everything that you see around you isn't exactly real? We're living in some sort of Matrix-like world. All the people you see, all the people you've ever talked to, you as a person, or a cat, or a dog, or whatever, isn't exactly real. So the shit that you do in this world may not even be a thing. So, like, that the bowl of cereal I just made, I don't know if you can really see that down there, but that's the thing of cereal that I'm pointing at. That cereal might not be real. I mean, I don't know. It looks real, but that's the thing. This simulation has tricked people. Now, in my opinion, there is no God. There is no heaven. There is no hell. Once you die, one of two things might happen. The first is that you leave this simulation. Also, I realized it was like I got like a giant halo or something, or like a thing of light coming on. I am the mystery box from Call of Duty Zombies. No, I'm just fucking around. But you know, one thing that could happen when you die is, in theory, you leave this simulation. Now, what happens after you leave this simulation? You either, from there, you either move on to the next simulation, if there is another one, or you can live the way you have always wanted. You could be your own god. You can be your own Thanos. You can make things happen as you see fit. You can make people love you. You can make people hate you. You can make people obey your every fucking will. Or, the second option. What happens when you die? There's nothing but a dark blackness surrounding you. And then, you fall asleep. When you die, think about it. When you sleep, you dream. Death is the eternal sleep. So, you dream for all eternity, and you can dream of whatever the piss you want. If your life sucks major goddamn ass, then you fall asleep and you make that shit your bitch. You make this world your bitch. You make your life better through death. Think about it. That is, as dumb as that may sound, as contradicting as that might sound, that very well could be true. See, I'm no doctor, I'm no death expert, okay? I don't know what the fuck happens when you die. But since I don't believe in heaven or hell or any of that bull-fangled ass sense, you know, ass shit, you know, that fucking ass shit, you know, I don't believe in that, right? I mean, it's cool if you do, but it's just not my sort of thing. I'm not gonna believe in some bullshit like that. But think about it. That could be a thing. When you die, the simulation ends. But what also could very well happen? Well, let me think here. Let me think how to phrase this. This world is not the only one. There's other dimensions and timelines. Going back to Mandela effect, there's other timelines, right? Where people cross over. Somehow, I crossed over into a fucking timeline where everybody seems to hate me. The fucking neighbors. You got people. I don't even fucking remember, like, that girl I was talking about in that one video I made yesterday. Was it yesterday? I don't know. I'm losing my mind here. But maybe that could be part of why I lost a lot of my memory. That I don't remember a lot of things. Because I crossed over into a different timeline. And with it, the memories that I had are gone. But how would that make any sense if I still remember certain things? That happened before I would have crossed over, right? I still remember being abused and raped by Brian, my so-called father. I still remember losing my grandmother, my grandfather. I still remember seeing my 2 dogs die, or our 2 dogs die that we had. I remember a lot of other things. Now, some say I crossed over a different dimension before I was born, and this timeline is bullshit. In this timeline, like I said, everybody seems to fucking hate me, and if they don't hate me, they will in the future. But in a different timeline, a different dimension, everybody loves me, and everybody praises me, everybody wants to bow down to me. I am their God. I am the only person that they listen to, and they obey, and that they love. As if I was their savior, their idol, you know? I mean, that one girl, I think, because again, I was looking through my videos, I was looking through my tweets, actually, the other day. I was looking through my Twitter, and I saw where that one girl, I forgot her name, basically started talking about me, saying that I was the Neko savior, I was the one that was supposed to save the world, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, who's to say that in this timeline that's not the case? Who's to say that in a different timeline that is the case? In this timeline, I'm a worthless sack of shit. I've always been and always will be worthless. And pathetic and a sack of shit. But in a different timeline, everything I've ever wanted came to me. Everything I've wanted in this world. What if, in this timeline, Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club never existed and never will exist? But in a different timeline, she does exist. Who is to say that other timelines and other dimensions could very well be real? I mean, what if the things that we create, like My Little Pony, who's to say that in some other universe, Fluttershy actually exists? There's multiple different timelines and multiple different universes and multiple different things that could, in theory, cause things to happen. Now, what happens when you cross over into this dimension and you talk to yourself? I was out there getting the mail earlier today or tonight, and I started talking to myself about things. Now, I didn't run into a futuristic version of myself, and he was telling me, oh, but if you do this, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. And this is what brought up the actual thing. Call me crazy. I know I'm fucking nuts. I know I've lost my mind. But there might be some truth to it. I mean, who the fuck knows what happens when you cross over into a different dimension? Now, a lot of times, people cross over into dimensions and different timelines and they don't realize that they've done so until it's too late. Until certain things happen. So I was arguing with myself while I was outside getting the mail. And I was walking, talking to myself, being like, okay, listen here, you little piece of shit. How the fuck What are you talking about? You're telling me this world never existed and that I never existed. But if I never existed, then technically that means that you never existed. Because you and I are the same person. We never existed in this timeline. So technically that means that you don't exist. You crossed over to a timeline that doesn't even exist. I don't know. I have some weird shit that goes on in my fucking head. You know, I don't even know what I'm thinking most of the time. But what happens when you cross over into a different timeline and you are already in that other timeline that you crossed over to? Theoretically, there's billions of us. There's like billions of different versions of us, each with a different, unique thing about it. Going back to what I was saying, in this timeline, everybody seems to fucking hate me, and if they don't, they will at some point in the future. But in another timeline where supposedly my other version of myself came from, everybody seemed to love that version of me. And I was the most successful YouTuber. I surpassed PewDiePie. Monica was my wife, my waifu, and everything like that. In reality, we had a fucking mansion. We took over the entire world, and everybody loved us, and blah 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 fuck. So maybe if that's true, how do you cross over? If you don't like the life you have now, don't blame the fact you were born. Blame the fact that alternate timelines. Ah, yes, that's the thing. I didn't do anything wrong. See, I'm innocent, right? I never did anything wrong in my life. Well, that's actually a lie. I've done a few things wrong. But in this timeline, I never did anything wrong. And everybody seems to hate me. So it's like no matter what I do or don't do, everybody hates me. Or they will at some point. And so that's why this timeline is the worst timeline. And if I was talking to myself earlier, I said something to the effect that maybe this world doesn't exist and everything that you see is a figment of your imagination. Or might have existed at some point, but doesn't anymore. Sort of like the Animist from Assassin's Creed, where everything you think is real isn't actually real. It's just your fucking memory. It's just your fucking brain. It's just your mind playing tricks on you. And with that being said, if that is the case, and nothing around here is real, this fucking keyboard isn't real, the mouse that I'm dangling isn't real. You know, if any of this shit isn't real, then how come we don't pass through these objects? You'd think I'd be able to just like phase through this keyboard and be like, and I could stick my hand right through the keyboard, but that's not the case. Because, technically speaking, maybe we're all just computer code in the Matrix. And possibly, maybe, hypothetically, nothing is real. And the only way that we could possibly go into a different timeline or different dimension is if we killed ourselves. See, if you draw blood, you know, like you carve yourself, you cut yourself or whatever, or you stab yourself to the point where you're fucking dead, technically all that blood that pours out of you is from a different timeline. Now, what happens when the blood that you spill or gets spilled at some point crosses over? Because there might be a time where your blood from this timeline crosses over into another timeline. Well, technically, another version of you is born. Because that's still your blood. Your blood flows through you. And so, technically speaking, you are creating another version of yourself. So, technically, maybe I might have bled at some point. I might have just just scratched myself to the point where I started bleeding. And then that blood crossed over into the timeline where people loved me. And that's why another version of myself was born into that timeline. And so technically, theoretically, I have no idea what the fuck I'm saying. fucking videos all over the goddamn place. I don't even know. No, I don't know. I don't know! But, like, most of the things I'm talking about could very well be a thing. I mean, some people say, oh, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. It doesn't matter if you believe in heaven or hell. You know, it still exists. Blah, 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 blah. When you go, you either go to heaven or hell, whatever. It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. You go to one of those two places. And there's some that are like me and say, bull fucking shit. You know, like, when you die... I mean, honestly, another thing I'd have to say. When you die... Honestly, another possible theory. You choose what you want to do when you die. Think about it from a video game standpoint. When you die, you either have a choice to respawn from an earlier save, which basically is reincarnation. You come back from the dead as a zombie or something like that. But no, that's you cross that out. You can either give up, right, and be like, you know, I'm done with life. I want to do my own thing. I want to fall asleep for all eternity, and I want to dream of the life that I deserve for all eternity. And then that can happen. Or you can restart from the very beginning. Start new as someone else. See, reincarnation is kind of like that. Reincarnation, where you die and you're born into something else. You could be born in this timeline as a cat or a dog, and then when you die, you turn into a person. Maybe that's why I'm a cat girl. Maybe that's why I enjoy being a Neko, because maybe I was a cat in my past life, and then I died, and I came back as this form, this hideous human form. And so I just now realized that I might have been a cat, and so I start doing everything I could cat-like. Nya, mew, meow, nyan, mew, 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 and things like that. And so, technically, I might be a cat. Like, no, in all seriousness, I might actually be a cat. I sometimes lick myself whenever there's food. I'm not going to do it now, but yeah, I'll do this. You know, whatever cats do. But, like, sometimes out of nowhere, I'll go outside and I'll meow as loud as I can. Just to piss off people. And I don't care if I piss off people because I'm a cat. And cats don't care about, well, much of anything. But enough talking about pussies, because mew, mew, mew. It is possible that you can come back reincarnated as something else. I could be a successful YouTuber. I could be a successful businessman. I could be an entrepreneur that buys and sells things for a lot of money, and then after that, do whatever I want with that money, become successfully rich and own a mansion and shit like that. I mean, it's possible that how do you think these people that run business, how do you think that works? How do you think that business will work? Well, maybe someone died, right, and that became something else when they came back, but they didn't realize that that's who they are. I mean, some people find themselves. Some people actually find themselves. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you find yourself, but some people actually found their past lives. And it also kind of gets into the whole thing about maybe it's possible that, hey, maybe when I die I'll come back from the dead, or come back from the life as something else. Who knows? I don't know. You don't know. My pants doesn't know. But also, that's another thing. Maybe, like, you can choose what you want to do. You can basically choose if you want to stay dead, or if you want to give it another go and try to go back, and into the fight as something else, reincarnation. Maybe you get a choice. Do whatever the fuck it is you want to do. And maybe that's the thing. But when it comes to timelines and crossing over into different dimensions and things like that, again, it seems like the only way to cross over into a different timeline is to fucking kill yourself. Now, I'm not promoting that, by the way. I'm not fucking saying you should. Although, there have been many times where I've been thinking about it. Honestly, last week, that's like one of the only few things I could remember, is how I felt like shit, and I wanted to die. I wanted to kill myself. But, I digress. So, basically, the timeline that you're in right now may not actually be the timeline you originally came from. Timeline that you came from might have gotten confused, and you might have crossed over into one while the timeline you were originally from just vanished, never to be seen again. So maybe, if we can find a way to open our original timelines, that would be good. I could use a new life. I could use something different. I could use a lot of things. What if there's a timeline where everybody in that timeline is a cat? A good idea! We need to open up that gateway so I can go into that gateway and become the leader of the Neckos and become the only cat in existence that every other cat will enjoy. MEWF. But yeah, honestly, I do think that, in all seriousness, most of what I'm saying, I do believe that it could be a possibility. Going back to what I was talking about with the dimensional gates, there could be multiple timelines in multiple dimensions, and we might have crossed over from one dimension to another dimension, or a timeline to another timeline. And it also, think about it, why do people all of a sudden hate you? If they do. Or why do people all of a sudden love you? If they do. You stepped into a different timeline. There you go. Now, another thing I like to think is that with timelines, you have to remember, if you come from this timeline and you move over to another timeline, you should be like yourself in that timeline, not this timeline. So if you're an asshole in this timeline and you went over to another timeline, you should not be an asshole in that timeline, because then that timeline will cross over with this timeline, and then the two timelines will collide. Because you're doing the same shit you're doing here and in another timeline. And you could very well cause the entire universe and all timelines about it to explode. Yeah! 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 You! And that makes sense. But yeah, like, in theory, that does make a lot of sense. So we muted the box, and I'm a cat, and I just mute, and I just mute. I'm a cat, I'm a cat. I'm a cat, mew, 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 mew. I'm a cat, I'm a cat, I'm a cat, mew, 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 mew. I'm a cat, I'm a cat, I'm a cat, mew, 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 mew. I'm a cat, I'm a cat, I'm a cat, mew, 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 mew. Mew! 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 Oh, I'm losing my mind talking about interdimensional whatever the fuck. I mean, it is true. My asshole has a bunch of chickens involved in, like, World War III, you know? But yeah, like I said, I mean, there could very well be a lot of things that could happen. Like, again, a lot of dimensional gates could open and people from different timelines cross over here. I mean, there's billions of people on this fucking Earth. So, I mean, who's to say that one or two people couldn't have crossed over without our knowledge, right? We don't know who could possibly cross over if they did. So, in theory, they just crossed over, and they may not realize it either. They may not realize the timeline that they crossed over to isn't exactly their timeline. But it's also not exactly our timeline either. In a way, I think everybody comes from different timelines, and we all form together to create one giant timeline in this timeline, but then the same people from another timeline could be doing that with another timeline, and all about timelines and shit like that. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore because I just fucking made my own brain hurt talking about possible theories as to what happens when we die, different dimensional ways and whatever, and how I'm a cat, and I dance, and I dance, so, I mean, that's whatever. But anyways, guys and gals, that's gonna be it for this video. Oh, my baby. I'm gonna rub one out. Boom. I've been recording for far too long. 29 fucking, almost 30 minutes, or 30, yeah, almost 30. I was gonna say almost 30 seconds. But anyways, guys and gals, it's going to be it for this video. If you like this video, give this video a like if it was fun too. Don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on the whole damn thing. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon down below to get notified of my future uploads and live streams and whatever the fuck else that I do. Follow me on Twitch because I do some live streams on there occasionally. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, people!